Yes, people, welcome back to another episode on That Gunners Talk. And I'm here with my boy KP as usual as Arsenal pick up a 2-1 win at the Emirates as Bukayo Saka is finally back, ladies and gentlemen. Something every single Arsenal fan has wanted to see for months and months and months. 4 months out, back with the goal and assist. Haters, you were spared this season. I'll let you know that from now. That's my early marker. KP is praying to the heavens. I am praying to the heavens. And you should be praying to the heavens that you've subscribed and like that Gunners Talk and KP's Gunner Street and Cape House Pausa. Like our channel, subscribe to the for more content. We post Arsenal content regularly. We have anything Arsenal related on both of our channels. So if you like Arsenal, you like Saka, you like the win, and you wanna see us lift trophies, hit the subscribe button on both of our channels because we got that energy coming all for the rest of the season into the summer. A big one, allegedly, and into a massive, massive next season. But KP, we're gonna start with this game. This is where we're gonna start off. Um, Overall, tell me about the game, and then we'll transition into little subplots from this game because I think that's what more of this game is about.
Um, the game was the game.
Mhm.
Wasn't too different than from many Arsenal games this season.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, especially off the back of international break, you don't expect the team to be completely sharp, but it looked like we lacked a bit of energy, a bit of bite, maybe just in terms of on the ball and just in terms of off the ball as well. And I think there was a couple of good moments from Martinelli in the first half. But I feel like in general, I just felt like we just we were just kind of coasting, and obviously the Gabriel injury happening in the first half obviously is heartbreaking. Obviously, you said subplots, but just in terms of the game, I think once we got the first goal, which obviously was a good move from the right side, lovely pass from Timber to Waneri obviously to Merino, and obviously an effort that obviously got deflected, but we take them, and obviously from there we kind of slow the game down, control it, which I expect us to do. Kind of wanted us to kind of keep going on and try and make more chances. But I can
Yeah.
tell Mikel probably spoke to the players at half time because I felt like the second half was much better than the first half. We were creating a bit more chances. Our press was a bit more. Uh, with intent, players were taking a bit more risk on the ball, driving into space and stuff, carrying the ball, playing more riskier passes, moving the ball faster, and once Saka came on as well, I feel like our performance elevated a different level as well. So it was poor to concede that goal um, late in the second half, obviously in stoppage
Yeah.
time. It was coming because Rodrigo did miss that
Sitter.
chance before.
Suit the sitter of it.
It's crazy chance that he missed, but yeah, so it could have been a whole different game. Funny enough, but end of the day, we just wanted to get the 3 points. We just wanted to make sure that we saw some good elements of performances, which we did, and obviously see Saka return safe and sound, and obviously even better that he got a goal. But yeah, what about you? What did you think of the performance?
I agree with literally everything you said. The first half, especially, I thought the game lacked that energy and that bite, especially in midfield. We looked like no one wanted to take the ball and really take the game to Fulham. But yeah, ultimately a great ball from Waneri, a great goal from Timber down the channel to find Waneri, to find Mikel Merino, someone who's been picking up a knack for scoring brilliant goals in that position. And you have to give him credit for Arsenal and Spain since we put him in that position. He's been becoming a very timely goal scorer. And only credit to that kind of player that has been moved out of position. Credit to Martinelli today, who I thought was outstanding. Great assist. And I think that's been something that slept on. Yes, because scored on his comeback game. But what, first of all, Martinelli breaks the lines, driving past two players, something we didn't really see from anybody else really in the team other than probably him, maybe Lewis Skelly, you could say. He broke the lines, drive through, finds Moreno wide, plays it inside. What a wonderful flick, finds Bukayo's head, score. That's 2-0. Then, like you said, give up a lot of chances today. And then the Gabriel injury, we could talk about it. That's going to be where I want to ultimately lead to. Gabriel's no, well, we have to wait to see how long he's going to be out for. Hopefully not long. But it did look very serious, KP. Cannot lie. Watching it over makes my heart drop every time. If Gabriel is not fit to play, let's just say both Real Madrid ties because they happen within the space of 2 or 3 weeks of each other. Do you think Arsenal, like, what do you think of our chances now, potentially, Gabriel, even though we have Saka back, losing a key figure at the back like Gabriel, seeing Kivior come in today, who's lacked the confidence and who's really lacked the physical ability to impose himself in certain games? Are you more concerned than you were before going into this Real Madrid game, even if without Bukayo Saka?
Obviously, it's a loss losing Gabriel, and obviously, I guess we will see the extent of the injury. But Yeah, there's a bit more concerns because obviously Gabriel's a better defender, more secure, more accustomed, more achieved in his play, and obviously he's one of our leaders. But at the same time, like as I say, these kind of games only come around once in a while, and I feel like even if us fans feel that way as well. So if us fans feel that way as well, then I'm pretty sure the players do. So I feel like Kivior, if he steps in or whoever does step in, like I feel like fam, just 90 minutes, 180 minutes of concentration and playing your best football. Like, and I feel like people always feel like when you play these games, you're gonna have like 100% of your squad. No team will ever has 100% of their squad. There's always injuries, always players filling in, and sometimes this is what makes players. Like if Kivior has 180 minutes of quality, then like that lives in people's minds even more than the last 2 years of him being at Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying? So like I'm not gonna go into the game like highlighting Kivior. I'm more again like just want to go into our strengths of how we are gonna be in that game. But even just focusing on this game a bit more, I just want to touch on Saka before we get into mine. I just want to touch on Saka. Obviously, his return
Mm,
is just lovely. Obviously, I'm pretty sure none of us really could really anticipate or expect when he was going to come back. Obviously,
yeah.
we were hearing different reports at the start of, when the injury happened, of he's getting surgery and this was is going to be and stuff, and you know that's what we had to go for. But like he looks, obviously, you can tell that he's a player that's come back from injury, but he looks like he's been sharp. Mikel has spoken about how he's been there, and obviously, you saw the ovation the crowd gave him. You saw, like, yeah, like I was on my feet as well, clapping, screaming. Like,
For me
I was
too.
happy,
For
man.
me
Like,
too.
just having him back, like knowing how much I already knew how much he meant to the squad. I've been singing about Kazak and how he's been our best player and how he needs to get these flowers like that. I feel like he hasn't been getting, but I feel like now the whole fan base, probably the whole football universe, knows how great Saka is and how much he means to this team. And just for him to get that goal, obviously lovely for it to be put on a plate from Martin, but by Martinelli, for him to get that goal and obviously just look a bit lively, couple good crosses, couple good moments, obviously, and just get himself back on the pitch. Hopefully, this is the start. See, what did he get? Like 25 minutes today? Maybe
Yep.
get like a whole 30 minutes or maybe a whole half on Saturday, and then we go for next week. So I don't know what you want, how you feel about Saka's return, just his performance overall. But what's your comments, man? Just a star boy.
Well,
I don't even call him star boy anymore because he's not a boy anymore. Like
Starman, Starman.
star man is back.
That's what I've been saying for this season because this season, even before his injury came, we were talking about it. The attitude, the confidence, the ability. It seems like it took that next step to the highest level where people are starting to look at him and say, okay, well, you see, Olaina even said it himself, like that's probably one of the best players in the Premier League. Like he's taking it to that level of standard. That's what the commentator said. He came on. He had 11 assists in the Premier League before his injury. 11 assists, and he's missed 4 months. Come on, like there was no doubt in my mind he was gonna be really up there in terms of getting really close to that record for a winger. So credit to Bukayo Saka. We need him back because even when you see him back today, I thought, like I said, we talked about the game. It was a slow, lethargic game. Yeah, we had a 1-0 lead when Bukayo came on, but ultimately it wasn't really a convincing performance to put the game to bed, really and truly. When Bukayo Saka came on, you saw the quality of players start to step up. Martin Odegaard, who was misplacing passes in the transition all game long, starts finding the pass. He starts getting the ball. No, he starts to drive at players. You see Yuri Timber forcing the ball, no finding Bukayo Saka, opening up that space. You see Miko Merino even flicking the ball over the top. I'm as soon as Scoop flicks, I'm like, yo, rah. Like when Bukayo Saka is in the team, you saw the confidence, the level, and the ability of the whole squad just rise. And that's only credit to one of the best players in the world. And you have to call him that. No, you have to call him that. There's no way he's putting up the numbers he does, playing the way he does, week in, week out. He has to be one of the best players, and he's Arsenal's best player. And we've missed him so much this season. We can only say what would have been if he was here this season. But ultimately, it just gives me a lot of hope for what we can still achieve this season. And that's going to be a massive one to get Bukayo Saka back. Absolutely. And well deserved of
Like
his goal, too, to be honest. Well deserved.
yeah, like it was a obviously I was a good finish. It was an easy finish, but
Yeah.
like as you said, I mean, he's one of the best players in the world. I think people know that. I think us fans know that, but people just have to give him his respect. And I
Yep.
think now, like that goal took him to double digits, obviously in goals for the season. Obviously, he's missed a lot of the season, and obviously he's already on double digit assists, and that's something that he's achieved in the last 3 seasons. So this guy is operating at a mad level, and you can already tell. like how much for he'll be key for us, for what is remaining of the season, and obviously next season going into what we hope is going to be D1. Obviously, if we can get the business done properly in this summer, to really try and take what we need. But I just want to touch on my boy Martinelli. I think to me was the man of the match today.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Absolutely.
like absolutely impeccable performance today from him. Like I loved everything about his performance. Getting the
Mhm.
ball every time, facing up Castagna, teasing them, teasing them, bringing him, then boom, go out on the outside. And I remember I told you about this a couple of weeks ago. Martinelli has
Crossing,
excellent crossing. His
crosses
crossing,
were
like
outstanding all game
I
long.
think,
Left foot,
I
right
think
foot.
I think a lot of people, obviously, because Martinelli doesn't get the goals, and obviously sometimes he is a bit either pass backwards or he sometimes loses the ball when he tries to take on the man. But because of those elements where he's not having a
Yeah.
game like this where people are really focused on him, I think people actually mistake that he actually does get a lot of good crosses, both left foot, right foot. He gets a lot of good crosses in. Like today, almost every cross that he put in was dangerous. Almost every cross that he put in danger. He was destroying Castagna. Like that moment where he, put it through his legs and made him fall
Like them.
down and just like it was good. That assist, obviously, as you said at the beginning, like a lot of people won't talk about that assist, but that assist was lovely. Like
Mhm.
he had that it was instinctive. It was all that he could have done, and I felt like obviously I just wished that he stayed on side for that goal because that finish was prime Martinelli. I knew as soon as it was through, it was going to be a goal. I wasn't doubting that, and that's where I say like that's the bread and butter of how we should be using Martinelli for the type of chances you get. Like that, we should be someone should be in those pockets, turning around and letting him make those runs and just finding him because you know that he's
Mhm.
a good finisher, but he has the pace to get away from defenders. But I want to shout at him because obviously he's taken a lot of stick for the last couple of years, and rightly so. Obviously, he set a high standard. If he had performed at a higher level or to the level that he's been or get the goals, who knows? But I felt like today he like you can tell that he's had a good 2 weeks, training the team, resting. I think he just got engaged with his girlfriend as well. So congratulations to them as well.
Congratulations.
And obviously he looks like a guy that's like locked in. He probably knows that like there's gonna be a big summer as well. Arsenal are more than
Yeah.
likely gonna buy a player that's gonna compete to start in that position. And fam, at the end of the day, he's been hit by injury as well. And
Yeah.
we have our season could still be so good. Like if we actually win Champions League, like no one's gonna really care about this Premier League season. Like no
Mhm.
one's gonna care about the season because you win the Champions League. If you finish
For
second,
sure.
like, you're not gonna be like, oh my days, we don't win the Prem, we win the double. Like you're gonna be like, fam, we won Champions League, and this
Mhm.
team writes itself history. So shout out to Martinelli, man. Obviously, like I'll pass it over to you, but that's my boy,
No,
man.
no, I
I think
and I do agree with you 100% because I will say this: you've been someone that has been backing Martinelli for months, so for a very, very long time, and you believed in his ability. The thing about Martinelli is the for 22-23 season when he scored 15 goals, everyone was expecting him to move like Bukayo Saka. Who Bukayo Saka has stepped it up every single level. I know he's reached to a point where people are cementing him as one of the best wingers in the world. Well, Martinelli and Saka at one point were on the same trajectory, going upwards. And obviously, progression, we talked about this on the podcast multiple times. A career is not always linear progression. Sometimes you'll have down years, sometimes you'll have up years, sometimes you'll have years that blow through the roof, sometimes your numbers will come back down to standard. It all happens across a career. For Martinelli, for me, I still think the tangibles have always been there. The ability to get past the man, to use his pace, like you talked about the crossing, that's something you've been highlighting for me. And that's something I picked up on more and more when I'm watching his game more and more. When he gets that ability, I just want to see him be consistent with it. No, that's the only thing I ask for Martinelli. No, just bring that consistency to your game. But more, I'm only speaking about that and more so the one-on-one areas. You see how we had Castagna on toast, and I'm not expecting him to go 10 for 10, 10 dribbles every week. I'm not expecting 10 dribbles every week, but believe in yourself more. Take on a man more. Put that cross in because I've seen you do it, and I know you could finish. So I agree with you getting in behind and using his pace and using Martinelli like that as well. He has the abilities, bro. It's just continuing to push that consistency in him, and that's something for Mikel and the backroom staff and players around Martinelli to consistently do and for himself mostly to consistently put out and as to see us blossom into the top side. But I do want to ask in terms of Arsenal getting that other player. Me and you both agree potentially Trossard is going to be moved out. I would like to see Martinelli continue to get moments in this team. Do you think Martinelli's future in this team, however, you've talked about good performances, do you think his positions might change maybe to more as a center forward? Do you think that could be more of a left winger? What do you think about Martinelli's future before we finally close out? You mute, KP. I don't know if you hear me.
I think I always said long term. I think Martinelli will play some type of striker type of role, but I think ultimately, like, I want us to have a I want us to have a forward line that each player can play in each at least multiple positions. Each player can be useful in at least, or at least has two strong positions in that front line, that where you can put them in and they can operate well in, not
Yeah,
necessarily one. And I think Martinelli can play well, very well, left wing. Obviously, right wing he can do a job. It's not necessarily his best, but he can do a job. And I think he can do well in the nine position. Obviously, if we are playing a team that play a high line, like let's say Spurs for instance, playing a player like Martinelli, I still feel like he can compete in the air and do well and provide that threat where it's literally a direct in behind ball that can get you 1v1s. I just think um that's just what it is. I think he just
mhm,
that left wing and strike for me. That's where he should play, and whoever we bring in as well. Like 'cause obviously, we hope to bring in a striker that is just a nine. But
yeah.
whoever winger we bring in, let's say for example, it was Nico Williams. He can play both right wing and left wing very strong.
That's
So
true.
like that's what you need, man. Because I want our players to start operating where they like rotate around, like in game, and not just necessarily just stay on their individual sides. Like so, you got to
Yeah.
be comfortable in all those areas. Like, how about yourself though?
Nah, I still think, well, he has the attributes and like I said, like I talked about, the attributes to play potentially a striker. We've seen Mikel Merino go up and play a striker. So, and especially in this formation, especially how Arteta likes to play, I don't think that maybe he might not be the center forward for Mikel specifically as an option off the bench to go up front. Definitely, he's something different, speed, and that's something we're definitely gonna need, especially maybe in games where we're sitting back a little bit more, maybe or Real Madrid's second leg potentially if we go in with a lead. Maybe that's an option of going through the middle. But for me, as long as Martinelli continues to develop that one-on-one side of his game, I think for me, I love the way. Well, Mikel also loves the way that he uses his ability to track back as well, and I think that he will continue to get that. I think that's how he will continue to get minutes for Mikel. If we're talking specifically about Arsenal under this manager, potentially under a new manager or maybe new circumstances, maybe he might be converted into more of a center forward, a different type of center forward, but under this manager, I think he might be more so of a right winger, left winger, because we've seen even when Saka was out, he played right wing. So like he's getting comfortable playing on both sides. So to his credit, he's developing that side of his game as well.
Yeah, I definitely think Mikel will use him as a winger, and I think obviously with Martinelli, the one thing I will put on him is he needs to become a bit more selfish. I need him to want to
Yeah,
take a bit more shots, like want to take 3, 4 shots a game. Like obviously he's such a team player that he always wants to create. He always wants to try and do the right thing in the moment, like and not be so soft. But I want him to return to that player that when he first came, that just kind of always wanted to score goals and had that hunger of just fashioning some chance space to shoot. Because I think once he gets back to that player as well, and he adds that element to his game as well as going on the outside inside. Because you can see that he's refining his game a bit more. Like Manelli used to be very
yeah.
very raw, very very rash. Like I think people have to realize players can start from different bases as well. But ultimately, I just wanted to continue. And obviously, it's nice to see that he has this level because you have to remember, like, all the pressure can't just be on Saka coming back to have virtuoso performance against Real Madrid when, other players that have been fit for longer than him, should be able to, also themselves, pose a threat. So if Martinelli's looking in form like this, obviously, and then hopefully on Saturday, well, we'll see what team Mikel goes with on Saturday. I feel like he probably will rotate a bit, a couple of players, but I feel like if you can do this against whoever it will be, whether that's Carvajal or Valverde, that's going to be playing right back from Madrid, I think I'll just be happy. Just before we do go, I just want to ask a question. Like, was there any other takeaways you took from this game, or was there any other questions that you had in terms of like the players that didn't play? Obviously, outside of the injuries, obviously we hope that Gabriel's fine. We hope Timber is fine, which I think he probably will be if he did continue to play. Ben White as well. We need to see what's going on there because obviously that's a question, but hopefully that's also nothing big. Is there anything else that you took from this game? Either decisions that Mikel made, the way players play, just the system, the way play like that. You look into for the next game or just Madrid, or would you just say I
I,
just get
I,
three
I
points?
feel like I feel like everything for me was, I think the main takeaways has to be Bakayo, Martinelli. We could talk about individual performances, but I'm giving certain players. I thought Odegaard first half was not good enough. I thought Partey had some shocking moments as well in that first half. some players that are normally good for us didn't really step up to the plate in the first half. And like you talked about, Mikel Arteta definitely probably talked to them at halftime or really got into them to come back out second half and perform a little bit better. So I'll give them a pass. First game after break, they've been out for like 2 straight weekends. I'll give them that pass and say, okay, one performance. Ultimately, we got the 3 points. We're going into Everton away, who's until last season was a pretty bogey fixture for us. So I'm hoping to continue that momentum as well, and then into probably our biggest game of the season at home. So for me, it's gearing up to that big game. For me, it's gearing up to that big game. Get the energy levels right, get your mindset right, get your sharpness right. Continue to get the minutes in your legs if you need to get them. More so, players that are coming back from injury or players that haven't been getting game time that we're going to need to step up, like a Kivi or potentially if Gabriel's not back, we're going to need them more so than ever. So it's just continuing to get that preparation ready for, to be honest, what is ultimately our season, if we're being quite honest.
Yeah,
What
man.
about you?
I
Any
agree.
any, any final takeaways you'd like to say?
I agree with everything you said, especially just us gearing towards this last game and just ultimately just us showing that like level of Mikel showing a certain level of squad management. This next game,
Yeah,
like any players that are like, for example, Timber, maybe he has to probably go over party right back in this game.
yep,
Obviously,
yep. I
then
don't
go
mind
over
it.
Timber starting if Ben White isn't available, or another iteration of what he can do to kind of rotate the squad around and bring Jorginho in, start Trossard, of course. Like if uh maybe you start Saka this game, bring him off, early, uh, like a couple of changes just there, just to kind of
Yeah,
friendship. Maybe even Zinchenko plays, Lewis Skelly can start off the bench, just to keep him fresh for Wednesday because sorry Tuesday because that's a big game he's gonna have
yeah.
against Rodrigo.
Rodrigo,
And
yeah,
also I just wanted to have big shout outs to obviously I think Lewis Skelly today. Obviously it was another
yep,
quality performance from him
yeah,
today
yes.
again.
I agree. I agree.
Like it just it's become like I don't want it to ever become the norm, at least not for his the first couple of seasons, that like how he plays makes it look so normal because he makes it look so normal, but it's not normal for 18-year-old in
18
his
year old,
debut
yeah,
season playing out of position to just be bossing his zones and bossing his jewels and
quality
playing
man,
so well. Like
quality.
it's so it should never go unrested. And obviously Marino as well. Obviously you already mentioned him, but obviously yeah, I think that's what 5 goals in like 8 games or 9 games playing strike now. Obviously
Yeah,
he's making it happen. Like obviously Mikel again is turned another player that he wasn't really meant to be a striker into a guy that can use his attributes and use his intelligence to get himself some chances. And that's goals are contagious, man. When you start scoring, you start wanting them more, and you start finding yourself in areas that you can get them more, and you start becoming more instinctive with it. So hey
mm-hmm.
man, like at the end of the day, we know Mikel's gonna go with Merino up front against Madrid. Uh, like probably at this point it makes more sense than playing Trossard there, even though like
Yeah,
because Trossard doesn't really played in strike for a long time, hasn't really got a run there,
yeah.
and the dynamics how the team is gonna go. So and like at the end of the day, like he's scoring, man. Like and just wanted to continue
Main thing.
scoring. Like that's all you can hope for, and hopefully he can bag himself a goal against Madrid as well, which would be key because he played decent today. I don't think
Yeah,
like if the first half when he wasn't in the game, I don't think it was on him. I think it was more the service, as you say, like Odegaard
yeah.
and
I agree.
Partey, Rice wasn't really good enough. But yeah, man. Hopefully Everton we can get another 3 points and we see what they do again. Against Liverpool. Obviously, title race is done, but you still got hope for the Europs to lose, and you never
Mm-hmm.
know for a little miracle to happen. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. But KP, thank you so much for your time and energy. People, thank you so much for your time and energy. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe to both of our channels, Gunner Street and Cape Pass Pausa. If you like anything Arsenal related, we have it both on our channels, player analysis, breakdowns. We have it all. Match reviews, match analysis. Like I said, we have it all. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join our families, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on,
Peace.
you Gunners. Peace.